Yes, that time at 6 o'clock, I'd like to call to order the Lake Kiowa Property Owners Association Board of Directors meeting for Monday, January 27th, 2025. Please stand and we'll say the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the States of America, to the republic for which it stands, and of this one, justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, there are 7 of us, so that is a quorum. Comments for the record, I don't have any of those this evening, except to say that the election starts this Friday, and you should be getting an email with the instructions from the POA. If the POA doesn't have your email address, get the Kindle at the POA office and get that on there where you'll get an email. This next thing is the first opportunity for comments from the members. If you have a comment, please raise your hand, say your name, and get a line number. Yes.
Oh, need this. I know where my voice is going. I'm Chris Hale, lot 167. I'm sure some of y'all know this, but starting Saturday, and running almost until February, after sundown, there is a thing in the sky. Okay, it's I'll think of it in a second, of course. Well, yeah, I'm gonna need that. Let's get alignment. Yes, I put the starting alignment. I didn't think I'd make my notes for yesterday. It's the planetary alignment. Sorry about that. And the only reason I mentioned it is it's really it's a thing. You'll be able to see 4 planets with the naked eye. There are actually going to be 6 planets up there, but you're going to need a telescope for that. So grab the kids, grab the grandkids, grab your significant other, get out to the probably a good place would be the driving range, maybe up there on the top of the dam. Anyway, it's going to be there until the end of February. Mercury may show up, but you know, happen or not. Now, why would I mention an alignment since I can barely say it? I'm hoping that here tonight, in this very room, we will see an alignment of the board of directors to put forward a motion to build 4 dedicated pickleball courts at the dam. We'll hear in a second, and after a short discussion, we will call for the question and have what we hope to be a majority vote to get that thing finally done. Yes, you're here. Now, we're not here asking for charity. We're not here asking for a handout. As Eric Durkins, I'll be quick. As what was Eric Dirksen said, or Imana said, you know, 1,000 here, 1,000 there. Pretty soon you're talking serious money. We hope we brought serious money because we want to partner with the association to leave money in the kitty for other projects that are here tonight. So I thank you for your forbearance. Appreciate the microphone.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay.
Dina Bag, lot 719. I wanted to talk to you about one of the items that's on the agenda later on this evening. I wish that I could speak then, but I'm going to have to do it now. I see on the agenda is the discussion for Westgate, and I've been out here for 10 years. And when I moved here, one of the first things I did is I started going to meetings right from the beginning. I wanted to know where I was moving into from out of state. So it was in 2016. It was an April 4th meeting when we identified the need to upgrade our security building, our systems, how the security was functioning out of the guardhouse. And it was noted that we were going to need to expand and improve not only the building, but our technology, which we have done some of that. It has been on the long-range plan since I believe, I go back through all the long-range plans, but for sure, in 2018, 2019, it was one of the highest projects. It was to be handled. We were going to move forward on a security guardhouse gate. It was then kicked because we focused on remodeling our beautiful lodge. Then it was kicked because, well, the pavilion was supposed to be about, I don't know, 750,000, and it was $1.5 million. So it was kicked then again. Oh wait, now we're gonna buy the log cabin and we're gonna wait and hold off on the security in the guardhouse again, because we might incorporate that log cabin into the design of our new entrance. But we still move forward. Sam's here tonight. I'm thinking he's been working on this for at least, I don't know, 7 years, maybe 8, with at least 3 different designs. We couldn't agree, we went back to the board, and I know we've had issues. I know one of the reasons why we haven't broken ground is because there was a main water line that was gonna cost us about $60,000. I believe that was the number, if we decided to proceed with that front gate. I think everybody knows all of the stuff I'm saying, I'm getting nervous. So my point is, we have a west gate on our agenda tonight. And we went before our membership and had them vote on a project to be completed, even if it went over $400,000. And our membership said, yes, we want that new gate. We want a security guardhouse upgrade, and that's what we want. I went back through tons of notes. Another entrance has been mentioned many times. Usually it's the Comanche gate, which has been talked about. It's too narrow. Can't use that as an entrance. But the west gate is not something that really had traction. I'm sorry, I know I'm getting long. On the master plan, there was a west gate. I said, great, okay, I'm not really for it, but whatever. Because we were thinking about RVs being there. What a great place to put a gate. The RVs can come in, not come in on our skinny little roads. But our community spoke once again. 60% of us don't want an RV park anymore. So, okay, there's the west gate. Great, we're putting in the part 3. Maybe this will connect that. No, we put in the entrance to the part 3 and the new driving range down just past Cocoa. So I'm still gonna have traffic coming through here. Anyways, long story short, I got more. I just wish that we would all consider finishing a project that we have promised to our community before we go building another gate that I've been to many of my friends, and they either go, why do we need a west gate? Or I didn't know what are you talking about? Or should we put one on the north side or somewhere else? So I'm just not sure if you guys really know the temperature of the community when it comes to a west gate. I don't know what's pushing it because it's not anybody I know. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you. Well, hang on. A lot of those questions and concerns will be answered for you. Any other questions or comments from the members? Okay. The next item.
Right.
Sorry.
Lisa Foltz, lot 263. I just wanted to say that the dog park, when we saw the survey, it did not make the top 5 from the survey this Saturday that was reviewed. So I think that giving money in the, to the dog park should be tabled.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments from the members? Okay. Next thing is approving the minutes. There was another copy on the chair tonight. It was just a labeling problem. So Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Rita moves. Is there a second?
Yes.
There's
Ronnie
actually
seconds.
corrections there.
Okay.
On the minutes from December the 9th. Item number 9, community manager report. Tom's name was misspelled. And then on item number 8. Item number 8E. Again, Tom's name was spelled. We made those corrections.
Home.
Hard as well. My bad.
We also make one more editorial on nine, or actually 10. It's the R3 golf course.
Changes.
Yes.
I'm going to sign later. Okay, with those changes, is there a revised motion? Great.
Second.
Ronnie seconds. Got that? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. And nothing. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Unfortunately, after reviewing some of the data, there's apparently some errors in it. And so we will table the treasurer's report for this month, both November and December, because it looks like there are some numbers in there that don't make sense. So go ahead, take a look at it. So the next thing that's on the agenda is committee and business updates. The first one is changes to committees. And we do have this month some changes. Okay. The first committee that has a change is the golf committee. We need to add Paul Pucci as at-large MGA rep and Jim Adams as MGA president. By the way, congratulations, Jim. And remove Massey as at-large MGA rep. And then on Lodge and Tavern, we'll remove Steve Wonder. Any questions? Comments? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to thank Steve. He was a wonderful addition to the committee. He knew a whole lot about restaurants and management of restaurants. He was a great help to all of us on the committee, and thank you very much.
Okay. Any other comments from the members? Okay, is there a motion to accept those committee changes? I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Sean seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. The next thing we have is an update and discussion on the Lodge and Tavern use property tax.
Thank you, Bill. We've been working very hard on this. In fact, Steve started it when he was the committee chair. The old rules and regulations we have have been followed somewhat, but not a whole lot. And so we started with Richie's help and with Jeremy's primary assistant, and a couple of committee members that worked long and hard. And we've been through probably 20 drafts of it. The main thing that we looked at is there were a lot of people using the facilities, and we had a lot of staff that were taking up valuable time and valuable dollars in taking care of their wants and needs, and there was no compensation coming back to the lodge and tavern. So we tried to determine what people were using, what they needed, how much was it costing us to provide those services, and we've come up with this program. And the objective is to have the place available, all of the rooms, all of the amenities for the members, their family, their grandchildren, but not to have it available for people that were doing things to raise money or to make money and add it to their pockets. So we decided that the approach should be that if you want tables set up, if you want chairs, then we'll charge a fixed fee depending on how much you're using. And generally, it's going to be somewhere around $50, depending on the size and how many tables and what facilities you use, whether it's in this room or one of the smaller rooms. And the lodge staff will be responsible for evaluating that and setting the fee. And everyone will follow that policy, and that policy is going to be implemented just as soon as it's approved by the board. And the larger gatherings, the ones that want food, will be paying for the food, they'll be paying for the staff to serve it, and there will be tips worked in so that everyone is compensated, and we don't have a large loss for every little event that occurs. And I would encourage you to look through the new policy. The board's seen many drafts of it, and we've been through a lot of them. And I think this is about the best we can do to get it out to the public. And I would request that the board approve it and we move forward. And if we need to make changes, we'll make changes. Thank you.
Okay, if you want to explain the reservation policy again.
The main change that we made in the reservation policy is that the event must be for members, immediate family, parents, grandparents, children, grandchildren, for the fee to be waived. And if that's the case, then it's our facility. If we want to use it for our family and extended family, then there shouldn't be a fee for it. We've already paid for it with our dues. And the restrictions on the reservation is primarily one of responsibility, that the member who requests the use of the facility is going to be responsible for whatever happens. Whether it's a loss of a table, a broken glass, and they will be charged for that. And they will also be responsible for following all of the Lake Kiowa governing documents and what they do and how they do it. And that will be all supervised by the staff, and they're going to be watching much more closely than they have in the past. I mentioned that they cannot charge a fee. You can charge for your expenses. If you're bringing water, if you're a dance club and you have to pay for the music, you have to pay for someone to play the music for you, then those are expenses that can be spread across the group, and that seems equitable. A member can't make a reservation and then turn around and give it to a buddy who's not a member and then just drop in for a minute. And then that's been a problem in the past. Someone will say, hey, I want to have a birthday party for my grandson. I'm not a member out there, but he comes out there all the time. And so we've eliminated that as a possibility. That anyone that wants to use it is a member, and they've got to come in and meet with Jeremy and discuss what they want to do and what's going to be involved. And then, but the expenses will be determined if it's in excess of just using the facility itself. The other problem that we've had is people call and make a reservation, and then they call 2 days before and said, Susan can't make it, we're not going to do it. And now there will be a procedure for canceling, and there's a possibility of a cost being assessed if it's costing us another activity that would have been profit making. So in summary, we want to have a policy that we follow all the time, a policy that's enforced, and we want to minimize expense to the property owners association and maximize the use of the facilities and increase the income as much as we possibly can and still enjoy its use.
Thank you, Ronnie. Are there any questions from the board members? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the policy as written?
I so moved.
Ronnie with that. Larry seconds. You got Larry with that. Seconds. Okay. Any further comments or concerns? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, it's 8-0. Okay, good. The next item up is the blue flag policy.
Yes, thank you. This is. Hear me now?
No.
Now we can go. All right. So this is just something we realized that we didn't really have a good policy on the blue flag golf cart, and we needed to clean up some things. So this is what we've provided for your approval. You'll notice that we've made it where the individual must possess a state approved permit or temporary disabled parking placard, license plate, or be approved by the golf committee. Must be registered with the pro shop each year. And I guess the other one is the one that kind of needed to be cleaned up is number 7. You see that parks must remain on paths with 50 feet from 50 feet of the tee boxes and the greens. If you have a blue flag, it still doesn't mean you can drive right up on the green and go through there. But is there any questions? We'd like to present this to the board for approval so that we can start having people go to the pro shop and register every year to get the flag in this flag.
Who looks at compliance? If they're not, is the marshals?
No, when they sign up, Lauren will look over what they bring. They have to sign up at the and then they'll have to blue flag.
Yeah, but I mean, to make sure that they don't go any closer to 50 feet.
Oh, yeah, that's the marshal.
All right. Okay. Any more questions or comments about the blue flag policy? Is there a motion to approve? Being moves to approve the policy as written. Seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. That's 8-0. It carries. Okay. Next item on the agenda is take action on to approve the logo for the R3 course. Jeff, that's it.
This update. Huh? R3 update. Yeah. Didn't really help in a second. Yeah. Making sure. And I'll hit the next 2 items at the same time, the logo and update. Well, that's true.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chet Hecker, lot 1646, and I'm going to go through a short presentation here because I know there's a lot to get to tonight. This is an update on the part 3 and also to go through the logo that we've defined and looked at. Excellent. So these are the things that we're going to touch on quickly: financial update, course logo, looking at an opening day, some golf committee items that we talked about, and then we do have a summary board items that we'd like you to look at and then vote on if you can tonight. Okay, next. This is kind of an updated view that Jim Fox has put together for us. You can see the par 3 on the left-hand side there with the driving range coming in as well. He's going to go over this in much more detail, but I just want to point out that the whole area really is starting to shape up and look really nice. If you once we're able to get up there and you can take a look at it, it's starting to look nice. Next slide. Okay, here is one. If you have any questions, please do ask. But here, let's look at the left side first. This is the construction. on the financial update. In the very beginning, we had a budgeted cost of 1.48 million, basically around that up to 1.5 million. To date, we have paid 1.3 million of that construction cost. We have a projected cost right now about 205,000 left to pay to the construction company, which puts us at a final cost of 1.5. So we are a little bit over budget.
I do,
But the good news is on the very bottom
Very
line,
good.
we raised
That's a problem.
1.65 million of construction donations. So a little bit above the budget, but we're well within the financial scheme of things that we have collected. So looking really good here on the construction side. If you jump to the right-hand side on the maintenance improvements, we're projecting by midsummer that we should have about $350,000 in the bank for maintenance. Okay, we believe, we don't know yet because we have to go through a full year of operating costs on maintenance out there, but we have estimated to be between $180,000 to $200,000 annually. So you can see where I'm kind of going with it. Now, the next one, line item 3, is we have, as a part 3 group, we believe that there is an annual income that we're going to see about $140,000 from the items that we have listed below there. The monthly donations, tournaments, fundraisers, guest fees, memberships, and then corporate sponsors. So if you do the math on it, we are ahead slightly on maintenance as well. So I want to thank everybody in here for all the work that they've done in doing so. I know everybody's been giving money to both causes here. So the part 3 is looking very solid. Next slide. I believe last meeting you did vote on the name. We went through and we put names out to the community. There were the 5 names that went up there, and you can see where the votes ended up. So the name of the course is going to simply be the par 3 at Lake Kiowa. Okay, again, by 3 votes. And that has been voted on, correct? Okay, great. Okay, so here's one of the things that we do need to look at. Next slide, please. This is the course logo that we ended up with. We went through, 15, 16, 17 different variations of different logos. We found this one to be very simple. It follows with the Kiowa scheme that we have with the Native American look and feel. It's very embroidery friendly. That is something, because we have some other ones that were very difficult to embroider, couldn't get them done. So this is a very easy embroidery item, and it's very gender neutral. Okay, that was something we wanted to make sure that we did, and it's something that we can change colors with and accents like we do with our current Kiowa logo. So this is, and if you go to the next slide, there's some kind of examples of what and where you're going to see this logo. Everywhere from like the whole signs to shirts, hats, and you can't really see the golf bag, but you can see the feather on it if you look really hard. So Bill, I'm not sure when you want to vote on this piece. I do have some other items for you guys to look at as well.
Okay, I think it's just the logo that we need to vote on. The rest of it, I'm not sure we need to vote on. So
You'll see in this. You go ahead.
okay. Is there a motion to accept the logo as presented? Sean? Go ahead. Sean. Votes to accept the logo. I guess you would second. 8 seconds. Any questions? Concerns? Okay. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 8-0. That is the new logo. Congratulations.
Great. Well, we have some
Thanks, Carl.
items for you as well. We have some golf towels made for you. If you want to get to the next slide, please. I waited until after the vote.
Thank you.
Okay, I do want to touch on this with you. We've been asked this, when are we going to be able to open? When are we going to be able to play? I really can't give you a definitive date yet, other than it's going to be the summer of 2025. Right now, where we stand with an update on the course is the fairways are completely sodded. The bunkers are completely There was a netability bunker that we had to put in the bunker. Sand has been placed in them, so they are completely done at this point in time. Irrigation is completely in. The greens are formed and laid out, but they do not have grass on them. We're going to wait till spring, and we're going to sprig them in the spring. The entry road has been formed. We're going to pave that in the spring. The restrooms have water and power to the area, and I don't know what pad has been laid, but what's that? And the septic, and so that's going to be finished up in the spring as well. So really, right now where we're at is Mother Nature has to get above a certain temperature for a certain period of time for us to finish the course. So we can't give you a definitive date other than the summer. Okay, next slide. Next meeting, we're probably going to be getting with you on some naming right items for signage. And so we'll have a full compilation of everything that has to be put on the course. Not sure if you have to vote on that or not. Next one. Okay, here are some items that the golf committee did discuss, and we need to pass this down to the board. I'm not sure if you have to vote on it or what has to happen. The first one is the fees. The golf committee and the par 3 committee suggest $10 per child, 12 and under, 25 for adults, 30 for weekends and holidays. The second item there is both from the par 3 group and the golf committee. We would like to have 80% of all guest fees on the par 3 go towards maintenance improvements on the par 3 only. So that is something that we're asking for. During the golf committee as well, we talked about a golf calendar. We are not putting out a golf calendar for 2025 for the par 3. We're going to play it, see how the use goes, and then we'll work with the golf committee to put a golf calendar together for 2026. We are putting together a par 3 association, which will be very similar to the WGA and the MGA. We've got the bylaws that are going through right now. We'll complete that. Leslie McElroy's helping with that. And then we get asked this a lot. What day is it going to be closed? It will be closed on Mondays for the first year. Okay, so same as the other course. So next slide. So here are the items that we've already done the logo, but the guest fees, I'm not sure if that's something you have to go out, and also the retaining of 80% of those guest fees towards maintenance and improvement. And that is all I've got. Just the next slide is just to thank everybody that has continued to put a lot of time into this. I know these people with the community do. Okay, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Rich, have we modeled this yet with the budget on the guest fees? So it's in there.
No, we have not included that.
Jeff, did you say you have something else coming next month?
Next month will be the signage we're going to put out.
Naming rights. Naming rights.
The naming rights, yeah, which goes on all the signs.
What you're doing, right?
Yeah, just what we're doing.
We've already agreed to that. We've already voted on that.
Right. We just want to make sure that we get all the names in front of you, so there's not a name that is not correct or not politically correct.
And a particular item.
Yeah, and the particular items, yeah. And the last thing is there is on the Facebook page, we updated the a new drone video. Or if you want to look at that.
I can show that right now.
I think it's going to be fine with the guest fees, but I would like you and Crystal to take a look at it. So we're just going to table that.
Okay.
And so we'll do it in everything. But okay, we got it. Sure.
It is.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So the next thing is Richard Stiniak and the new driving.
Just a quick update for the driving range. Again, you have the site picture. You kind of see the outline of the driving range and the targets. You kind of see the faded section of the existing driving range. That's about a 12 acre for the new driving range to just a little over 7 acres for the existing driving range, just to give a comparison. Next slide. And then all the dirt work's been done for the driving range, fee setup, the targets are set. Irrigation was actually completed today. So the next thing they'll be doing is in the T area, before they sod it, they'll lay out, they have the forms right now already set for the concrete pad for the 25 T mats. So that'll be going in next, and then they're going to sod the T area, the actual range area itself. We're going to leave as is. We're just going to take some erosion control measures, some silk fencing, et cetera, to maintain that until spring so we can grow some grass there. The road, like you said, is being installed. That goes up to the driving range and the parking lot of the driving range. After that, it'll just be a trail. So it's just, you can see up to the little parking lot area over to the right, and that road, that's as far as that'll get paved. And then again, it's the starting day when it opens should correspond somewhat to what the part 3 is. It has to do with how the grass grows and when everything's ready. So it should be about the same time. And if you want to go to the next slide, you can kind of see an aerial of just kind of the part 3, the driving range and the existing driving range at that stage. Thank you.
How wide is the hitting area on the driving range versus the old one?
I think it's about 300 wide. The new one, the existing one, I think is 120, 125. Is that right? Yeah.
So almost 3 times.
The hitting area, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Any questions from anybody? Okay. Okay. The next item is the item that y'all have all been waiting for. So, Mike Kirkland.
A lot of pressure. Mike Kirkland, lot 234, but I'm here representing the Lake Kiowa Pickleball Association, our 300 and some members and players here in Lake Kiowa. Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it. I know you have a big agenda here tonight, so we're going to try to get through this really fast. I might skip over some minor details, but we've been here several times before. I think we all understand exactly what's going on, what we're trying to do. And but I'll give enough detail. Hopefully everybody in the audience will have their questions answered before they're asked. I would like to thank my board members that are pickleball board members, in particular, Roger Treacher, Chris Hale, Lisa McCrae, Jay Thompson, Lisa Foltz, myself. We were the ones that put together most of this information, have attended so many committee meetings here that we feel like we're on a first name basis with everybody doing this. But anyway, we're here one last time, hopefully, and our goal here is to promote pickleball and to build some pickleball courts here in Lake Kiowa, like you see in most HOAs, POAs throughout the state, throughout the country. And I think this is a project that would certainly beautify the community and add a valuable amenity here. This is what we're trying to build. We'd like to see this here in Lake Kiowa, be a beautiful, vibrant, four-court pickleball facility, complete with lights, fencing, some shade structures, some seating, and all of that's included in the cost that you'll get here in just a minute. The facility would be certainly built to last and provide years of enjoyment for the community. We've been through a lot of different steps over the last probably 2 years, year and a half for sure. And we've completed all these different steps, learned a lot along the way and kind of massaged some of this to get here. But on the number 5 there, the soil sample and site survey, I just want to reiterate that that was paid for by donations and fundraising by the pickleball community, and there was no cost to the POA here in Lake Kiowa. Go ahead. All right, so here we are trying to get these courts built, and we're here to try to get this project commenced here in this next year. We have a lot of pledges that we've gotten We're up to $100,000 in pledges now towards these courts. It would be upon the pickleball board to collect the pledges and then present them to the board. Hopefully we could do that in the next few weeks if this gets approved. We've had over 50 donors come forward from the community. Many of them are not pickleball players. They just see the benefit of this to the community and wanted to support us. And we appreciate that very much. A lot of these people that donated were pickleball players. We appreciate that too. We've also done some fundraising efforts over the last year, and all that comes together and is represented in that $100,000 fee. Good. It's just kind of an overview here of what that would look like down at the dam facility, which, by the way, the board voted back in, I think it was July this last year, that if we had pickleball courts, that's where we would put them. That's where we're planning to put them. That's what we're talking about here tonight. And it's just kind of an idea of what the area would look like. And we'd certainly leave the garden alone. So tonight, here we are. Talking about the total cost of this venture. Rich Augustiniak has received a couple of quotes. The quotes were just under $225,000 each. So we feel pretty comfortable that would be pretty much the cost of it. As stated earlier, we've raised $100,000, which we're willing to donate to make this happen. So that would leave about $125,000 for the POA to fund. And we would ask a 20 to 25% margin in case things run higher than that. So that would be maybe up to $175,000 from the POA would give us a little margin there. So the Pickleball Association would donate $100,000. The POA would be asked to come up with $125,000, but no more than $175,000 towards the project. Also, I just want to add that these pledges are based on these 4 courts being established in 2025. Our membership has made it really clear to us on our pickleball board that they want these courts. They want them right now. That's why they came up with all these pledges, and they would like to have it done before the end of the year. If there are any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Okay, Rich, the 2 bids, were they real bids, were they hard bids, or were they, we have not got RFP back yet, right?
Actually, they were both from an RFP. We had sent out an RFP earlier.
Qualified.
And so they were qualified bids. They're estimates, not final bids, but proposals. We do have some extra costs like running power out there. So if the cost is going to be $225,000, I'd probably just add another $25,000 in extra costs. So probably be $250,000 minimum after you count everything.
So if we went to not to exceed 175, it would be covered.
That should cover anything and some contingencies as well.
Okay. I guess my only comment to you is, having been around here long enough and for hearing Dina's comments, and how construction things happen around here, I feel reasonably certain that we can commence this project in 2025, but guaranteeing you that we're going to finish it in 2025. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't think it's a problem. I'm just saying, guarantee you. I'm not sure we can do that.
I don't think we're looking for a guarantee on the timeline. That's just, like I said, our membership and their donations. They want to get it done, and they want to get it done now. So whatever we can do, as long as we're moving forward, I think they'll be happy.
We all want the front gate done. We all want the west gate done. We all want the part 3 done. Again, I'm just saying things come up that are beyond the control. So.
Yes, sir.
I guess I was gonna say, like with the part three, you kind of had a little bit of a facilitator there to kind of help with the construction, like a project manager. So it's not all on Rich's shoulders, but y'all have someone like that available?
Yes, we do. We have one of our pickleball association members has been a large project manager and built shopping centers and things like that for many years, and he's already volunteered his time.
Okay, one of the changes that we've had since we started the R3 is we now have Jim Fox as a part-time, and he's got plenty of experiences to deal with this, so it would be probably on his agenda to get this done, so.
Who's also working on the front gate.
So,
Did I hear you say that the donations would be dependent upon us voting to do this? That was kind of the reverse of the golf course. We had to have a checks to the bank, right, before we move forward with the golf course, before we voted on that.
yeah,
So I would say we would do the same thing here. We need to see the dollars in the bank before we vote. That's the same thing we do with the golf course.
yeah, that I've talked with Jay on a couple of occasions about how the process works. So this is a little bit different in that they're already a club, or the part three was not. And so they have a checking account that they will put their funds in and write us a check or just transfer the funds to us electronically. So we won't have that. POA won't have that clearance time that we did with part three. So once we have
the donation, the pledge is not a donation until it's in the bank.
correct, exactly, yeah, we
Yeah,
won't.
I think that has to actually follow the guidelines for the donation committee and make that done. Fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Donations is what it is. But yeah, we won't sign the contract until we have the funds in the bank.
I understand that, but I think part of the problem with getting the pledges turned into donations, if there hasn't been a vote by this board.
We're gonna.
Okay, but I'm just saying, if there hasn't been one, we're gonna have a hard time getting the donations actually made. But I understand the part about getting the contract, once the cash is there, we understand that.
No, we're fully planning on voting on this tonight.
Okay, thank you.
So that's not.
Okay.
Trying to make sure everybody understands what the process is. Yes, ma'am.
So if I understand correctly, what we would do if we were to approve it tonight, it would come with a proviso that nothing would be started until that money was received to the POA.
Yes, ma'am, that's our understanding as
That
well.
would be my understanding.
Yes.
Because that way, that would be consistent with the part three, that would be consistent with what we do to protect our members, that we haven't committed to anything we don't have money for.
Yes, ma'am, we agree with that wholeheartedly.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say basically the same steps as part three, just to get that in line. Basically, we put it out to bid, which we have bids. Once that was selected, we approved the donation program, which has already been approved. They're following the process. Next step is you go into contract negotiations. When the contract's ready, and we approve the contract, before we sign the contract, we get the money in the bank. And then once we get the money in the bank, we sign the contract and it's
Correct. Thank you. Yeah, once the money is in the bank, we'll sign the contract. And we picked the contractor yet?
Yes, with discussions with them, they have one that they prefer, and it's basically the same cost, so we can do that. Because of the timeline and some of the scope has changed a little bit from the original RFP, I'll send out another RFP just to make sure everything can qualify with the state restrictions and just to see if anything else comes in. But we got actually 3 bids that came in. One of them was extremely high, 2 of them were really close, and everybody else basically didn't comply. So I think we suffice with that, and they like one person that comes in at the same price as I think there's an issue.
Yeah, one of those came in and said that they could start like late March or early April.
Correct.
Take 60 days before. So it's probably not a problem to get it done. Okay. So everybody understands we have the money in the bank, in our bank, which is probably the same as everybody is. Okay. And once we have that money in the bank, we can sign the contract. Okay with that? Are there any more questions from the board members on this? So it's not to exceed $175,000 with at least no less than $100,000 from the Pickleball Association. Okay. Okay.
And I think Bria said that she had a proviso that we would receive the money first.
All in favor? Gonna have your pickleball courts. Thank you.
Thank you guys, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. The next item, it's been $175,000. Let's see if we spend more.
Yeah, clicker, you can use the clicker. Yeah.
Okay, the next item is.
I'm afraid to touch it, but it should go full screen. Yeah. Yeah.
Jen, are you doing that? Okay.
Okay. Always crashes.
I'll talk a little bit about the proposed trail and give you a little bit of background of that. I know you have this information in your packet, so mainly for the audience, you kind of see what we're looking at. So next slide. This is the same site plan that Jeff showed you on the golf course. On here, you can kind of see the highlighted in yellow, the proposed trail loop that would go around there. And a possible cross trail that would connect down to the restroom, the plaza area for the part 3. Next slide. Just a little different view from a previous drone shoot, and it kind of gives you a little better perspective, I guess, of how that might loop around the property there. And we'll call out down kind of the lower right. It's hard to see in the slide, but by the 5th green there would need to be some trail user protection at least, if not a net to kind of help with golf balls on the course. And we're kind of in progress right now with kind of researching what that would need to be. Next slide. Yeah, this is kind of some early examples we had.
Before you move to the next slide, can you go back? On the cross trail section, I noticed that there was no accommodation there for a protection area.
Correct. That's a kind of a difficult slide in the judge perspective too. There's quite a bit of area between the left side of the driving range and the first hole. One of the things as we get to the summary on this is that you may want to consider just holding off on that cross trail until we get some use of the golf course and the driving range and determine whether we've got any other safety issues out there or not. So that's a consideration. But again, by the 5th green here, we're looking at these examples. This was actually an example that I took some pictures up in South Dakota, where they had a trail and a golf course right next to each other. And it's kind of a low area with cantilever over, so the ball is long. So there's ways to protect the trail user. One of the issues that we also have is whether the golf balls can go into the neighbor's yard. So the golf course architect right now is actually researching some of those solutions to that, but they're going to be expensive, putting up some form of protection out there. Next slide. Again, these are pictures from some vendors' websites. They're showing examples of what it might need to be. Next slide. So quickly, the trail itself, the material we're looking at is decomposed granite, same as the nature area trail that we have right now. The perimeter loop would be a little over a mile. The cross trail is about 2/10 of a mile. If you have that cross trail in there, it sets up 2 loops. So again, that'd be really nice if you want to do a figure 8 and do some make your
your walk, if you're going a little bit, longer, the east loop would be about 0.86 miles, the west loop a little over 610. So the walking trail itself is proposed to be 8 feet wide, about 4 to 5 inches thick of the BG. So the estimated cost for the perimeter loop is about $90,000. This switch had gotten a quote from one of our contractors that's done some work on the Nature Trail in the past, so we feel pretty good about those costs. If you do the cross trail section, that's 17,000, and the subtotal would be 107,000. Again, we're looking at the cost estimate and kind of sort of guesstimate at this point, kind of based on fence costs and some other things, but we'll have better information on that also from the golf course architects, and that'd be about 18,000, 20,000, maybe a little bit more. We're not certain at this point. Depends on the solution. We might have some cheaper solutions too, but let's see. So the total on the trail right now would be 125,000. Estimate on that. Next slide. So just want to point out, Nancy did a good job here tonight on the community survey response, and the trail was one of the highest things in there. So it's highly desired. I think we all know that walking on today on our existing streets is a little bit more risky than it has been in the past with the amount of traffic that we have. I think the length that 1 mile loop is really desirable too, to have that kind of length as opposed to a little quarter mile type of thing that we have currently. The existing trails, we believe, that the use of that has increased with the upgrades to that. What's really nice here by putting the trail in on 52 acres would be there's a restroom and there's parking already. So we get to share use of some of those things with the golf courses. And just the interactive experiences you have with the planned improvements and even future improvements out there on 52 acres would be really neat. We've got a little pond down there that we can trail go right by it. So if you want to fish off of that or something like that, there's some neat synergy that could happen up there. Next slide. This will wrap it up here. We don't need any professional design services. We can pretty much take this in the field and have the contractor put that in. It's been reviewed by 3 different committees: Parks and Recreation, Land Use, and Part 3. So the recommendation is, proceed with that after the driving range closes. Obviously, move the new one, so it'd be a little while before we could actually do this. And again, the thought that maybe you want to delay the cross trail section on that. That's all I have. Questions?
Any questions from the board members?
Yeah, thank you very much for the work and putting all that together for us. You said we wouldn't start until the driving range closed. So all the other part that is around the driving range that goes around the Part 3 and then on the south side, we can't start that work until then.
I guess you could. You could do that. I think from a contract standpoint, he'd probably prefer us to do it all at once and be done with it.
So it's not part of what's being done, right? You're not going to use the same people at the same that we're using on the Part 3.
No, we would do a separate contract to this, and it's probably a little different people. They want to be out of here also. The only reason the Part 3 people are coming back now would be to deal with the greens and the grass in those. So I think a lot of their equipment would be done.
In the original master plan, there was actually a little bit of a loop around the pond. It's there on that Part 3. Is that part? That's not part of that walking trail. Sure, it's there.
Make up that. There one more slide.
No, so I'll go back.
Back as
Right
well.
where the entrance would be.
Yes, I wanted, depending on,
Almost go to the front of them.
that one side of the pond, we really don't have an area that's our property that we can go on. Actually, part of that pond is actually semi on that neighboring property, so you wouldn't be able to go all the way around. That's not really feasible.
Okay.
If you notice, if you ever go there, you see how their pond drains into ours,
Yes.
and where there's barbed wire fence there. But it's kind of right there, you wouldn't be able to actually navigate and go around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think we can go around, but as you see in the lower right-hand corner there, I mean, that would be a potential improvement someday, maybe put a little fishing pier in there or a sea bubble or something like that, kind of a little box pond type of thing.
That was my thought, that originally we talked about doing that, so.
Yeah, it'd be very accessible off the trail, and we'll have parking right there also too, right to the park right now, so.
And there's parking right across the road because there's a little bit of parking right there for those dogs. Okay, all right, thank you.
And to remind everybody, this is number one on the community service there. Any more questions from board members? Ronnie?
Bill, has anyone looked at the liability issue? You know, when we're walking on the roads, someone gets injured, that's gonna be litigation between the walker and the driver. And here, we've got the possibility of the DOA being involved in it because of negligent construction, negligence operation planning. So we talked about getting release sheets from everyone. Is there a facility where they could, before they walk, there's a little box like we have on the golf course, scorecards on number 2, so they sign it before they can start walking. Then there's a general statute about recreational activities that you can post signs for.
I don't think we have that for any of the other. Not that we should, we just don't. Jim, any comments on that?
I mean, there's clearly some risk with doing that. Obviously, the trail user protection is really needed in some areas there. I would also, I would think too, most of the trail will be away from all of that. As far as signing in, I don't know how practical that is to actually get somebody to do that. But signage and communication through communique and those types of things would be very easy to do that. And there's some inherent risk anytime you're on the golf course or you're even walking a trail now with wildlife or whatever, so.
Also, there's not the velocity, there's not a whole lot of drivers being used, there's a lot of pitching wedges in part 3, is that something? And also, we did ask the architect to leave a buffer for a walking trail, so I know number 5, that I think you messed up there maybe, but.
I think that's the only area of concern where we would, route the I'd walk a lot of that. Cross trail again is a little different scenario, but the rest of it, you're definitely away from most of all of that inner shot.
It's an issue of helmets.
That was suggested. That's one of the things that should.
Shine the light on, something along those lines. So. Any other questions? Is there a motion to spend $125,000 to build these walking trails?
So moved.
Okay. 8 seconds.
Even Jim said something about holding off on the connecting trail. Does the 125 cover that too? Or so what was that?
That's included in the 125. It was estimated to be about 17,000 to actually do the cross trail.
Okay. That was my only question. Is if he's suggesting we may want to hold off doing that until we see what the actual flying balls look like coming off the range.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we ought to hold off on the cross trail. We got to see, whether I'm up there doing someone that knows what they're doing.
Can we also look at the area there that's just down from the number 7 hole? Because it looks like being off on number 7, that's where the trail's at.
Could
also
first line, site plan.
Right there. Hang on, it's bugging out again. Yeah, go too fast, it crashes. Hang on one sec, it'll come back.
The seventh green, is, the trail would be
That's what I'm
a
trying to
long
do.
ways away if we go down towards the fence, the south fence line. Because east west and along there, there's a lot of buffer between the seventh green and where the trail go. We have plenty of room there for that.
North seven waters.
From the green to the
Well,
wrong.
back in the green, yeah.
Yeah, the scale's kind of deceiving. If you think of the road is.
Yeah, looking at it right there.
Yeah, go to the side plan.
Yeah, but that, see that,
Paying off the number.
that's a good ways. That practice green is, like 80 yards over on the right.
Okay.
And again, we can say that in the field as close to the fence and as far away from the seventh green as possible on that. Again, that is a little deceiving in the scale. There's a lot of room there.
Okay, I mean, it doesn't look like it would take much to.
Also 70 yards, that's a 70-yard to 7 hole. I mean, from the tee box to 7 holes, 70-yard shot.
Okay, saying, looking at this map. It looks like the area for the proposed trail is there. That potentially could be an issue. I'm just saying,
That point down,
there's not much to cover there.
the point you see on number 8, that's the tee box. So number 7 green is at the top of the number 8 fairway. So.
Yeah, for the sevens thing, right?
Yeah, the green for number 7 would be in here, so you have, like Dean said, you probably got 70 yards or so to where the trail would go. This would be the teeing area. In fact, the tee is here, so it's all going from the trail at that point.
Especially you then build shot into the count.
Number 7 is 88 yards.
All right.
Okay.
Can I just say on my motion, so. And I approve that we do spend not to exceed $125,000 in walking trails. With the consideration that we're gonna look at the cross section and see how that goes. So we may just do part of it,
But if it looks like we can do it.
Do all of
we've
it.
got the money.
the PS, 125, not to exceed.
Yeah. Okay. You're okay with that change?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Somebody make it.
Yeah. Nancy. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Lou? All right.
Okay.
The next thing, that's Carth. Whatever that is.
Did you all right?
Yeah, they see why I'm not familiar with that. Those are fun. Okay. The next one is to discuss the west gate.
All right, you're probably gonna get tired of hearing my voice. I probably will too. So here's kind of an overview, and again, I know we have information package already about this, but for the audience and looking over here to Dina, and I got my back turned to her, and we are making progress on the front gate. We adjusted some floor plan issues in there, and so it's all working on it. Maybe a little slower than we like, but we're making progress.
You know, and I know I'm not, I was nervous, and I wanted to say, not just that. Personally, and other people, but personally, I don't want another entrance into Kiowa. I live here because it's gated and it's secured, and I like having the 2 entrances. I didn't get to say that, and so I wanted to add that. It's about safety for me as well, another access into our community. And I did time it today. From the fire department to the front gate, it was 2 minutes and 47 seconds. So that's what we're saving. Thank you for letting me speak.
All right, go ahead. So to kind of give an overview of this, we have the east gate, which I think you see on the right side there in the front gate. And where this proposed west gate would be entering through that 52-acre tract. So I guess we would be using County Road 224 over towards the Family Dollar store, would be the connection there. So just give you a little orientation. Next slide. Again, this is kind of zooming in on the 52 acres, and you kind of see where the route is that we believe would be the best way to come in. Next slide. Again, one of those drone shoot from the drone shoot a long time ago. You can kind of see the orientation of that route and how it would connect into West Kiowa Drive, basically by the existing driving range and probably by that parking lot. Again, we'll have to kind of tweak all of that as it goes. But again, the existing driving range would need to be closed before we could actually construct a road through there. Next slide. There's that same shot that you saw before, just kind of gives you again an orientation of relative to the existing driving range and also the par 3 where that would be on the left side there towards the water tower. Next slide. So to Dean's point here on that, if you go from that point on West Kiowa Drive where the entrance would tie in over there, and you go out the front gate, it would be 2.4 miles over to the Family Dollar store. If you go through the west gate over there, it's 0.9 miles. So you're basically saving about 1.5 miles by going that route. Next slide. And I know this might be a little hard to read, but just trying to visually estimate who would be able to use this gate, who does it benefit? So again, it's a little hard to read. Down by the front gate, there's an orange ellipse down there that kind of outlines those homes are probably going to always use the front gate. If you look at the east gate side over there, there's a bunch of homes over there that are going to continue to use the east gate. But in the yellow, all of those people would benefit going west. Now, obviously, if you're making a trip to the east or whatever on that, they're probably not going to use the west gate. But and then there's an area there kind of in the middle where it's sort of up to the individual how they think they might want to go. I actually did some calculations from a point at Comanche and Kiowa Drive East in the middle of that white. So it would actually be closer to go through the proposed west gate from that point than it is the east gate. Now, the issue is once you get out of 902, your speed limit's higher. So you probably actually have to save time going that direction to the west. But again, that would be decisions that those people could make in there. But just in general, it looks like about 50% of the people here in Iowa would benefit from that west gate. Next slide. So again, the same site plan that you've seen before, it highlighted in yellow is just kind of the conceptually we're right now where we think the west gate how it might look. We'll zoom in on that on the next slide. So again, you see how it would relate to the driving range, existing driving range, and then come in off of 224 over there. And one of the things in this concept, go ahead and go to the next one. This is easier to read. We're looking at about 1,000 feet of roadway. We've learned a few things about the front gate and east gate. In other words, when you put gates in like that, people wind up having to back up, and that lends itself towards safety issues. So we probably want to have a way for people that are denied access over there to be able to turn around and get out of here safely. So that just conceptually is how we're looking at that. And then there would be fence lines and ways that people would not be able to get into Kiowa if they can't go through the automated gate. Next one. So again, we're just estimating at this point, looking at some of that, about 50% of the residents would have a benefit from this. It would reduce travel time to the west for those residents. Round trips would be reduced by about 3 miles, which saves fuel and money and time. I think another important point of Westgate is that it would significantly reduce the traffic at the front gate. And so I know it's here, but anything we can do to help, alleviate some of that traffic up there, I think would be a good thing. The East Gate has been, people who live on the east side, can you imagine not having an East Gate? And some people have been around long enough to know what that's like, but it would be, so this would be helpful. It's helped with emergency vehicle response time. Now, Westgate, I don't know if the fire department's already there, but if there's emergency vehicles coming from Gainesville for some reason, whatever, it might be helpful for that too, in terms of response time. County Road 224 is paved at that point, so county's aware of this and okay with us having a point up there. The next slide. So I have contacted a couple of engineers. I got a response from one. The other one said they were going to submit something, and I expect they still will, but haven't heard anything more to this point. The proposal that came in was $24,380. So we were right on our estimate there on that. The construction plans, if we go ahead and do this and do some plans for it, and that's all we're asking for right now, would be you could use these plans in the future. Unlike the front gate where you've got architectural elements and some of those things that change, this is pretty straightforward roadway with some gates. And so if you don't have the construction dollars for that, you could always put the plans on a shelf and dust them off with a minor update, and they'd be good in the future on that too. So we don't have a cost estimate. Again, we'd like an engineer to be involved with this for the roadway, the gates and the fences, and possibly some demolition of some existing features over there by the driving range. Land Use Committee Gerald's here, chair of the Land Use Committee. We did talk about this with the committee, and they did recommend hiring consultants to design the road and gate system and prepare some cost estimates. So in summary, that's kind of where we're at with the West Gate.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there questions and comments about just spending the $25,000 to do the engineering and see what happens from there?
Would it be designed where the big trucks, construction vehicles can go through there, or is they still gonna have to go to the front gate?
I think that's part of the design process we can look at. I mean, I think we can easily accommodate that, much like the East Gate. Just kind of getting into the details of what that would look like. And so, yes, it could be done. I think it's a question operationally, do we want that or not?
I mean, that's the intent, basically, would be the East Gate. As far as you want to take it, would be up to, further, but the same thing, you could put a median in there, put a little guard hut, you could have one man guard hut at 1.2 if you wanted to. I mean, I'm just saying, it's open to possibilities.
I just remember construction out to the road, trucks trying to get in the mornings, and this would be a positive thing to solve that problem. And also reduce the traffic for when visitors come in. It's not such a stress. Sometimes they can be treated that.
Yeah.
It's not such a stressful in and out process.
Jim, was there any consideration there down by the, I guess the SUV tanks down by the low water crossing, and looks like it's 50 yards to get from or it's a lot less space between 244 and our road. If you keep going north, and it seems like it would serve a better population if we were going to do this, go to like northwest. Can you go back to that grid that had all the ellipses on it?
Mm-hmm.
And you pull that back up?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Hold on.
Tom, I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. We don't know where we would have the ability to provide some stacking and the gates that are along those other areas.
Where?
They just have to be in the road. I mean, this would happen on the East Gate. There's some stacking area.
Well, there's a little bit off of 211, but not much.
Yeah, you get two cars there, and the rest of us are on the road on this access.
Between where?
I mean, we have, can we go back some more? To the,
Are you talking about Tom around
keep
Navajo?
going, Scott.
Navajo Trail?
There, there we go.
There.
Oh,
Well, one of the other things too is County Road 224 is only paved to that point where we're proposing, so that it's gravel the rest of the way. I don't know if that makes a big difference, but
It's horrible road.
yeah.
it's not a good road. Pardon me. The other point, I know we have a gate up there that we've used in emergency. I know I have. When low water crossing, we had fire down there, and we had to go up that gravel road. But the fence line is right on the edge of the road. So even compared to the east gate, there's absolutely no place to stack a car.
I don't think we have any property there either. That would be the after.
But I mean, be happy to take a look and see if there's anything that would be potential up there. I just don't know of any off the top of my
I'm just
head.
thinking, if you're gonna put one in that's servicing that side, something further north would be better. Unless it's in big.
I think you'd have to widen the road and have to carry pavement as well. And that, well, also we have water department's, permission to do that, but we really don't have any property there where we could access.
Water comes across the road.
Okay. So, yes, ma'am.
I just have a question. So the 24 something that you got is an estimate for design fees. So that's just for the west gate. So how much more would it cost if we had them look at doing something on the east side also? We talked about Comanche or different places that we use there. So at the same time, we're getting design estimates for both gates on both sides. And that way we can choose to move forward or not.
Certainly, I mean, we certainly ask whatever engineer we hire, because we, again, we've got one proposal, and it's a pretty solid proposal. We need to go through it in detail, get it on Friday. There may be some other things in terms of topographic and survey and some other information that the engineer was asking about, that we've got to identify, Rich and I need to sit down and talk about that. Same thing with the east side, we can talk to them about what it would take. Guess we could do that as a separate contract too, with the engineer, and just add it on at some point too. You want to do something tonight, or if you want to, defer it till another meeting where we could ask.
Are you talking about the Comanche gate?
I'm just asking, we always talk about having another gate on the east side, the northern part off of Comanche, where we've used it at different times. And so if we're trying to look for different access for the community, then to me, it behooves us to have, here's a design plan for this one or that one, and you can choose to move forward when you want to move forward. Back to Jim's point, at least you have the design information to be able to make that decision. West gate or east gate, best gate, could be the best gate, it could be both of them, who knows? And I agree with Tom, it'd be great if we could go further up that road, because then you could pass low water crossing number 1. Because right now, if we did have another one of those 150-year floods, the one area that wouldn't be able to get out would be the people between number 1 and number 2 for low water crossing. And so if there was another way out, that would also be an option too.
Well, I mean, that's
That's still the bridge across the water too. And just
I don't see that bridge on this agenda, Bill.
Just a thought on that, if we have those kind of conditions, kind of like building a church roofs or something, we could open the gate up there or by the water district to get people out under a serious situation.
Okay, are there any more questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve from the 25,000?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until we address some of the issues that Andy's talking about. Make it. So look at it. Maybe something further north there on the east side.
Hey, you use the microphone.
It's working. Mine's on. Yeah, that is. And my proposal would be to table this until we maybe just get more information or at least get a proposal. I'm looking at an additional gate on the northeast side then.
But Rich is telling us he doesn't think it's feasible.
A Comanche gate it is. I'm just saying, like Jim said, we can use the one by the water tower in emergency, but that's not really our property.
Right.
The Comanche gate we can do, but I don't know if there's a reason tabling it because it's the same investigation. Do you want to do the west gate or do you want to do the Comanche gate first? As a proposal, there's no other investigation to do, choosing one or the other or both. To go forward and try to get a design to see what it costs. Either that or you just wait.
Well, then there's a small gate up there at Navajo, just east or just north of that corner there. But those roads are not paved.
Correct.
So we would have to wait on the county to pave those roads. They're not big enough to have two cars go down side by side. And then there's no stacking area at all. There's that gate, first of all, that gate's not on our property. So those people, other don't like us parking there anyway.
Correct. That's the only decision now. To Nancy's point is, do you want to look at both of them and investigate both of them, or do you just want to wait to table?
Okay, well that's not on the list.
Right.
So do we want to spend 25,000 to do engineering for the west gate as proposed? Is there a motion?
Question I have is, if we do move to spend that money, then we can also, at the same time, we could come back and ask if we got design plans for an east gate, and we could always approve those additional funds if we chose to, right?
Right.
Could we not do that? So we could move forward, at least we would have a design for the west gate, and then we could, we'll look at the other, and that would be, so I move that we spend not to exceed 25,000 for design plans for the west gate, and that we look at obtaining bids for what it would cost for an east gate at the same time.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, there being no second, it fails. We will move on. The next item on the agenda is the dog park. Rich, I'll just give you Jim Fox.
One more. So, okay, next slide. Just talking quickly about the dog park. It is in the master plan. There was one that was proposed inside the walking track, south side of by the dam. I don't have the reference in there for the one up by the nature trail, which was kind of just north of the silt basin on the west side of the road over there. It would require parking, so it would be much more costly. But by look at that, it's also, personally, I think there's some real potential issue to start putting fence in the floodplain and obstructing the flow of water through there in high water conditions and stuff. But it was suggested that there's another site in the master plan. Next slide. We have looked at potential of a second option over by where the pickleball courts are going to go. Okay, and looking at that down there, kind of walking through that one. That one also is really rough down in there. It has some benefit, but next slide. And I'm not going to go through all of the pros and cons here. Again, you have almost all of that here. Option 2 has some things, but it probably would eliminate the disc golf course down there, and it's really unlevel ground that would be some, again, quite a bit of expense to deal with that. Next slide. So a little closer view of probably, I would lay something out inside of that. You can't read that, but it's 46,000 square feet, so it's just a little over an acre in there, would be a fair sized dog park for our community. Next slide. We could do about the same thing again down there with the pickleball courts. We still have room for basketball and tennis courts, but it's kind of a rough area down there. Next slide. So just from a benchmark standpoint, the dog park in Gainesville is 50,000 square feet. So we're right there with that, and I think public ones. Go to the next slide also. I'm sorry. So this is photos of that. It's very well done at the Gainesville dog park over there. Gated entry. Next slide.
Hang on one sec. Crash.
Crash.
Yeah, crash.
One of the other, I was involved when we built the dog park in Plano, and we had a 2-acre one there. Since I retired, there's now a 5-acre and a 7-acre dog park that's been built over there. So in public realm, it's very, very popular. Get back to
Technical difficulties as always. Yes.
you can just got my full screen. Yeah. Crash. Go ahead. Dance with that. One.
Hang on a sec. Hmm.
Yeah, an old one, but yeah. So let me just kind of verbally cover the cost estimate on this right now. So to do the dog park would be about $60,000. That would include the fencing, which should be about $45,000. The area by the walking trail doesn't have any water right now, so it'd be really helpful to have a drinking fountain for not only the people there, but the dog bowl on that. And it would also serve the trail users on that. So I mean, it really, again, sort of shared use with some of those. So the utilities would be a fair expense on that. Some amenities, need some signage, and there's rules that go with dog parks that need to be followed. And the dog waste station, you actually have one out there already, so we possibly can relocate that, or maybe use a second one inside there. Bench or two out there. Some optional stuff would be put in a turf irrigation. Get enough dogs out there with little paws going out there. You may have a lot of dirt left out there and turns into mud, and nobody wants to go out and use it. So that's something you can add in the future too, if that's what happens out there. And dog playground apparatus or agility training type of apparatus that could go out there. So anyway, that's the basic cost on a dog park in that area. I think that's it. So again, we did kind of look at this with Parks and Recreation Committee out there, and the recommendation would be to proceed to construction with this, and you have the construction funds available on them. I'll take questions at the point.
Yeah, Jim, would you talk about would you talk about the tiering issue that we have there that I don't think you and I either one were aware of every time?
Well, yeah, the site that would be by the pickleball courts, as the drainage slowed down there, it looks like at one point or another it was terraced to try to help slow the water down and that. So it's real rough down in there. And if you were trying to do a dog park at that location, you probably have to do some grading. I went to a conference a long time ago when dog parks were first started. They started out in California, like many things do. And I still remember the guy talking, saying, when you build it, we had to learn that we're building a park for people with dogs, not a dog park. It's not for dogs. And that's an important point, because if you go out there and you're gonna expect the owner to pick up the waste, and if a person has problems navigating a really rough site like that, then your dog waste is gonna get picked up, and it's hard on the people that use that particular dog park too. So the site that's being proposed here inside the walking trails, nice and level, it's easy to access, and so that's one of the reasons why I think that that's a little bit better site. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate the thoughtfulness that's come behind this. My only concern is that there's a waste bag or something out there now. This isn't going to get a lot of use. I mean, there's just waste everywhere, and I just fear that it's these like a concentration of dog waste that people are going to ignore signage to pick up and just have this giant pile. It's amazing.
Yeah, I will tell you, from operating a dog park, there are conflicts occur out there. There are issues like that. One of the things I hope we might have a volunteer group of dog owners that use that park that would maybe band together and kind of monitor it and help for people that maybe have issues picking up waste or whatever and that. But there is an impact, and whether it's security having to go out there to resolve potential conflict, or maintenance crew having to go up and clean up, yeah, I mean, there are some operational things that go with dog park.
Are you gonna have money for your budget to pick up food?
I mean, it's bad now, and
It's serious for you.
You just have to get done at the same time, or by adding the budget, you just add more resources. Have to add a person if you want to do that.
Sean, one thing to add too is when it is concentrated like that, everybody sees it happening. I think that's one of the problems with off-leash areas. People turn their head, their dog goes to the back, and they don't know where it is. When you get it all in one place, people can monitor it a lot easier. So I mean, hopefully those volunteers or the people that are responsible with that. And again, security might have to warn some people if we have that kind of thing happening, or if you have two dogs that don't get along with each other, there's going to be some things that go with it.
One more question, Jim. How high is the fence? I mean, high enough to keep the dogs in, not so high that it just looks unnice.
The Gainesville appears to be a 4-foot fence. I think that's probably sufficient on that. I mean, if you got a Great Dane or somebody that could jump over, but I think the majority of dogs, they respect that 4-foot fence, so it's not nice. So it looks like a fucking prison.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yes, please.
I think my concern that I've heard from others is that's a peaceful trail. And then you come and you're gonna have a bunch of dogs in the center of it. You might have a marking as you're walking by, and you already have 3 that do that on the golf course. So I'm sure that you'll have some complaints with things like that as well.
Not in disagreement with what. Not trying to be in disagreement with what you're saying. But the flip side of that is the dog park we built was alongside the trail. We had to put bleachers out because the trail user would come by and they'd watch the dogs playing. And it became a very interesting point of attraction for people to go watch the dogs, catch frisbees, and do those kinds of things. So there is a positive side to having all of those dogs in one place too.
Anything else, Jim? Is there a motion to fund the dog park? $60,000. Not to exceed 60,000.
I'm just gonna say for myself, I think we have a lot going on that I think it should be tabled for a while.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Anybody else? No motion? All right, it fails. Moving on. All right, Rich, HVAC contracts.
This contract in your packet, from Absolute Contractors, their current maintenance agreement expired. We never really had a full formal contract with them, so I worked with James, completed the contract, have their scope and bid in the packet, as well as a certificate of insurance, which we're named on. The price actually has not increased at all, actually, for the last 2 years. And there's 37 systems total that they maintain. They're also, they on call, they service quite quickly once we do call them. So just moves to accept this contract.
So this is an O&M, correct?
That's correct.
And it's budgeted currently.
Correct.
Okay. And it is not over what's in the budget.
No.
Okay. Motion approved by. Wait a seconds. All in favor? Okay, community manager report. We will take each one of these individually.
All right, the first one is got to do with the lodge attic ventilation. We've had recommendations before that it's in need of additional ventilation and mechanical ventilation, powered. Got a bid in there from Legacy, also had a bid from Absolute. Absolute was a little bit higher. And Legacy, I was hoping to get some graphics, didn't get them, but if you can picture these, it'd be 4 fans in different locations in the gables. They're small 12 1 foot square vents that are powered to help all the attic ventilation, just because it gets so hot in here in the summer. It'll help all the HVAC systems as well. Basically those go in the gables and the gap, similar to you'll see, faux louver vents on homes, the old time used to have them in the gables. This is just a powered vent. We'll trim them out, make them look nicer. They're just stainless steel with their louvers, but we'll try to trim them out similar to what the buildings look like. But that is the proposal.
Any questions? So the motion? Ronnie moves, you want to say? Okay. There being no questions, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, it passes. Next.
Next one is just a request for a skid steer attachment. It's basically a snow pusher plow, but it also works as a dirt mover. It'll come in at $23.14 and 30 cents. Asking that to come out of CARF. It'll then move into an ARF. We'll look at it as an additional attachment for the skid steer.
Rita moves. Second. Nancy seconds. All in favor? Okay, it passes. 8-0. Okay.
Next one is a radar detector for security to replace it. It's not in the ARF schedule, so we're asking it to come out of CARF and then be put in ARF again for a total sum of $27.46 for the replacement of the radar detector.
Okay, it should have been an ARF,
Correct.
so it needs to be charged there.
Okay, that's fine. That's still the approval.
Okay. It should have been an ARF. So it will be charged on it. Just the Dean moves. Nancy seconds. All in favor? Out of ARF.
Next one is from Restaurant Supply. I have a bunch of information in here about the deep fryers. We have 3 that are due for replacement. The cost to replace them would be approximately $7,900, which is over the $4,000 that we have in ARF. Jeremy would actually like to get a better version that filters the grease oil. It new would be in excess of 50,000. He proposes to purchase a used one, which is a few years old. It would still have about a 10 to 15 year lifespan. It would be the same cost as just replacing the standard deep fryers that he has now. So asking that as a sort of an increase in our funds regardless, but I'm also asking for a substitution to purchase a better quality deep fryers with a filter option for the same price. And this has been approved by Ways and Means.
So you're asking for an additional 4,000 from our.
Correct.
Is there a motion? And 3 seconds. All in favor? 8-0.
The next one I'll just review really quickly. I had this in Ways and Means reviewed and approved. Golf acquisitions. Basically, my only concern was as a line item, we have items that would have exceeded and I would have needed to request items, but it's from one supplier, so bundled. We're way in the positive in the variance, and we don't need any additional funds. Ways and Means has reviewed this as well and approved it.
Okay, there's a couple on here that are labeled part three. Is that being charged to them?
That's being charged to Park Three, there's reference. And it's they're labeled that way on the Excel spreadsheet. He got the bid from PTP, and basically, you know, he's got the prices from them, but it's on the same list, so I just separated it out.
Okay, you know that we budgeted for used equipment, is that in line with our budget, or is that?
It's about $10,000, and that was a request I sent to you guys to let you know, but that's not part of this. It's an ARF picture, so I'm asking for the ARF request. That's not yours. That's why I separated it out.
Okay. As long as we're in budget.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, are there any other questions?
So the motions to purchase the Toro equipment for the 18th golf course and not the Park 3, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so where's the total without the par three?
That is $328,874. Just so everybody knows the cost to replace some golf equipment.
I'm going to confused by your statement that there's don't really need any additional funds to do this, so why are we working on it?
I had it. I was already scheduled to go Ways and Means and ask for it. I already had it in the agenda. So
we don't really need
not at this point.
Just an FYI. Okay.
I had one more item that not in the agenda, but because it's winter, I'm trying to expedite it a little bit. We have a request from Jeremy and the lodge and out in the patio again, getting more people out there. The heaters we have right now are kind of cumbersome and don't work really well. So I have some infrared heaters, which we have a bid for $45, $65.99 to purchase 6 of them to go out the patio.
Any questions? It's not on the agenda.
My question was gonna be, so when would we install them?
As soon as possible, I get approval. I think they can get them installed in 2 weeks, I believe.
Oh, the barbecue grill.
We can use that as a heater.
I was joking when I said that, but it's been 2 years.
We're supposed to be here by July.
It feels like 2 years. So did we give them cash in hand or?
Oh, yeah.
And we are,
And break. Exactly.
and is there an update?
Keep getting an update and hopefully it'll be here soon. Is what I keep getting. There always seems to be an issue. He's a small company and just keep getting pushed off. Talk to Jeremy about it and may have to pursue legal action if possible.
Those, I'm not sure we can vote on this because it's not on the agenda. So you can either bring it back in February, or it's under $5,000 and you can bring this an emergency and spend it and then try to explain it in the February meeting.
I don't know if I want to do that.
So, I mean, it can't come from OEM. Can't come from OEM.
Well, I'm maxed out at $2,500 for troops. You need to approve it anyways, and like Bill said, it need to be on the agenda. Or package.
Just buy a couple.
Good, that cut through.
Just
And then by three, and then by three again.
All right, is there any additional business to come before? Or it does not require us spending money? We spend. Okay. There being none, this is the second and last time you get to talk tonight. Are there any comments from the members? Raise your hand. Have your lot number, name the lot number, and Scott will bring you
Orchid lot 1676. And kind of answering Nancy's question, the Comanche Gate, or what you call the Northeast Gate, has been brought up on 2 other occasions. We've gone to the county. And the problem is on the left side of if you exit that gate, on the left side, there's a 90-degree turn. And it's very close to that corner. And the county has said that that's an accident waiting to happen, even though it's a 35-mile-an-hour zone. People come around there faster. And if you would ask me, I lived back there for 19 years, and yeah, they go 50 miles an hour or so. So on 2 occasions, it's come up, people have wanted it, and because of the safety factor, and there's no stacking area back there, you can put 1 car where the gate is now, you can't get a second car. So if a car comes around the corner, it's considered to be an accident waiting to happen. So with that, I would say that we probably shouldn't spend $15,000 or $20,000 on having an engineer take a look at it, but that's my thoughts.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. Jimmy Rose, Courtney.
It's Tim Adams, lot 666. Man, I know it didn't pass or got pushed off, but I want to reiterate what Dina said earlier about the gate on the west side. I personally I live in one of those prime circles that would use that. And as Dina said, it's like 2 minutes out. Jim reported that. And it's like a minute and something the other way. You're saving like a minute. So the cost benefit ratio on the west gate is not that good. So look at it, if it's $25,000 to design it, it's going to be considerably amount to build it in the future. So I just wanted to make sure you guys in the future map that through the community very well before you consider it, instead of just having it pop up like tonight. So, and then, but I appreciate you debating the other items and tabling some that just again seem to pop up out of nowhere. Appreciate that. Finally, I have to be concerned. I'm really concerned our treasurer here. It's just told our community manager kind of cheat the system and go ahead and go buy something and I work around the system. And it's what she was telling me to do. So I appreciate again, it wasn't on the agenda, so to wait and vet that out and have it on the agenda to vote for things like that. So just want to pass that on.
Thank you. Who?
Who's next first?
This is Mike Demorest, lot 1642. And sort of going back to when we opened up the meeting in regards to the front gate and the guardhouse there. And I thought that I was, we were going to hear some kind of an update on that, but I didn't hear anything or I missed it. Because that is one item that has been a priority and we haven't really seen anything yet. We're talking about expending more funds. So if you could just give an update on where we stand on that, I would really appreciate it.
Okay, we'll have a complete update for everybody on the front gate in the February meeting. But we've had several updates of that in these meetings. So I don't know whether you've been here or not, but we've had several. We tweaked the design to save us some money and it moves quicker. But unfortunately, the design architect doesn't move at the same speed that we would like them to. So the way that works. So any other comments? Okay. Yeah.
I have one. I just wanted to say thank you to those that did come to our town hall meeting on Saturday night. You know, it's always our opportunity to educate our membership and reiterate what you told us as we've considered a lot of things tonight that have been on our survey in the past. But I just want to say thank you very much for coming the other night and thank you for your attendance tonight.
Okay, is that the last comment? Okay, the next thing we are going to do is.
You have a question?
Checking to see if I'm on the agenda. I know I'm on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
I just didn't want to miss this on.
Oh, you're on the agenda, so we'll get to you. Hang on. Okay. If there are no objections, after I read this statement, we will adjourn and come back after about a 15-minute break and go into executive session. And the executive session is going to be done by the bylaw 6.02G, covers executive sessions. It says the board of directors may adjourn from an open board meeting and reconvene in a closed executive session to consider actions including personnel, pending or threatened litigation, contract negotiations, enforcement actions, communications with the association's attorney. That's Mr. Kidwell, by the way. Matters involving invasion of privacy of owners, members, and confidential matters wherein the affected parties requested privacy and the board agrees. Following the executive session, any decisions must be summarized orally and placed in the minutes in general terms without breaching privacy and privileged information. Any expenditure approved in the executive session must be explained. So, having said all of that, unless there are any objections, we are now recessed and we will be back here at 5 till 8.